I put makeup on just for this date, so it better go well. And I'm not posting this, probably, if it doesn't. It did not go well. Truthfully, it lasted less than 2 minutes. I walked up, he gave me a hug and said, "Are you hungry? Let's go inside." We went inside. He said, "Actually, can you step outside for a minute?" I stepped back outside, and he said, "I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm just not feeling it." So I walked to my car and came back home. Dating when you're fat sucks. I put...
At least it was honest.
That was it.
I don't know if that was the problem.
I think it was honest.
So recap here. She went on a date. The guy, she says it lasted 2 minutes. The guy says he wasn't, it sounded like he was polite, but he met up with her. 2 minutes goes by. He's like, "Hey, I just don't feel the connection," or whatever, and leaves. Is this unacceptable behavior? Should he have stuck it through? Should he, was it wrong? Was it a dick move? Starting with you, go ahead.
Well, up until the last anecdote, I was like, oh, this is a very polite, full, respectable video, right? This girl gets ready for a date. She shows up. The guy's like, "Honestly, I'm not feeling you." And then they leave, and that seems fine. But I feel like when you're kind of insecure about something, we look for a reason, like, oh, it's because I'm this or because I'm this. When honestly, it's not always that, like, we don't really know why. There isn't always a reason why. And so, although it's easy to jump to these conclusions, I don't think that's very fair to either of you.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I wonder why, like, the last sentence, that was the conclusion she came to, because, like, I've been on like a lot of bad dates, but then, like, just kind of to give the guy like a benefit of the doubt and, see if there's any redeeming personality traits, maybe, like, I will go through, like, a whole date. And so I don't know, I just really wonder, like, if maybe, like, if there was more context. Is this the first time it happened? Like, is it from, like, a dating profile? Like, did she misrepresent herself in any way? Because it seemed very certain how she just jumped to the conclusion. Like, maybe it's her biggest insecurity, but I honestly, like, it sounded like she was more insecure about her makeup in the beginning of the video. So how come she didn't jump to the conclusion saying, like, oh, dating's hard when I don't know how to put on makeup. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. That's my thoughts.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, it just sounds like she catfished him. But also I think it's fine to just say you're not into it. I've done that before. It saves everyone's time and money. Yeah. Especially if you're busy, you work a lot, and you think, fuck this, I've got to go. Sorry, swearing already.
No, it's fine.
You got to go on like 3 dates a week. I'm trying to find a partner, I've only got these evenings free,
I think there's some people weighing in with additional details saying that on the dating app she did say that she was overweight, and she did have photos that showed her and her being overweight. But even if, assuming that's even the case, and the guy knew going into the date that exactly how she looked, I suppose looking at it from that way, do you think there's anything wrong with, even though going into the date he wasn't catfished, but he just saw her in person?
Maybe she smelled bad. Maybe she was making a TikTok as she walked in, like, "Hey guys, here's my date," and he was like, "I'm not having this."
Yeah.
So it could have been. I think your vibe in person's very different.
Sure. What about you?
I think it was kind of rude for him to leave in 2 minutes, because maybe they had like a connection online. I think he should have still pursued it like till the end, and maybe they could have been friends regardless of anything, because they both went out of their way to go, and they should have gave it a shot.
I definitely think he should have stuck it out. I'm just curious, like, what if he got a text from, like, a girl he really wanted to go on a date on, and it was in the middle of that date, so he's like, you know what, I'm out. Like,
I've already had a drink, I'm dressed up nice.
And she could have smelled bad. She could have smelled bad, and it's just like, okay, she was cute online, everyone looks a little better online and in person, and he's kind of like, this just ain't it, But he could have stuck it through.
Your thoughts?
I don't think there's anything wrong with honesty. I prefer that versus someone going to the bathroom and then just sneaking out. I'd rather someone take me outside where it's more private and just let me know, hey, I'm not really into it.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wouldn't take it personally, just because it's more, I think, a matter of he probably didn't physically feel attracted to her, or like they were saying, it could just be like a vibe thing where the energy is like, you're not what I expected you to be. So.
Is there a booster here? Do we not have a booster? Is there a booster?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, so I would say that's just my thoughts on it. I mean, I've ghosted dates before myself. So, like, if it happened to me, I wouldn't be offended. I'm like, everybody's not everybody's cup of tea. So you can't expect everybody to like you know?
I think ghosting is very different to telling someone in person that you want to leave and you don't like it.
Definitely.
I think ghosting is really wrong.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No,
Really?
I
To
agree
tell
with what you
somebody-
said.
I think ghosting is really
bad.
It's
yeah.
horrible. It shows like really bad personality, because if you can ghost someone, you literally don't care for other people's feelings. So she needs to tolerate that. And I think part of being mature, it's to admit to yourself first that maybe I'm not his cup of tea and not take it personally, because some people like you for what you think it's not good, and some people like you for what everybody think is good. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's part of being mature to tolerate it.
I don't like the idea of us. Like, I know it's so easy to be like, you know, maybe she didn't look like her pictures, maybe she smelled weird, maybe she was this, but it's like, maybe he just didn't want to go on the date with her. Like, maybe if I don't like a banana, it's not because there's something wrong with the banana. I just don't like bananas, and that's okay.
Or he
then,
could
like,
have been scared too.
Yeah,
himself.
or
He
it
coulda
could
gotten
have been
nervous.
it could have just been personal. A lot of times we think it's like our fault for the way that people act and treat us. A lot of times it's very much whatever's going on inside our own heads are why we act a certain way. It's not like because someone else.
We have, let's pull up, can you pull up the tweet and show the full tweet? Guys, like the video, F11, please. All right. So this guy provides some commentary. Can we scroll up, make it a little bigger?
I think it's her eyebrows.
Many young men go through life expecting to be treated like this, and worse. You know why we don't typically feel bad for those men? Because they're not entitled to anything. Somehow we forget this when an unattractive woman has her feelings hurt. And then scroll down a little bit, like to some of the replies. What actually? It's just interesting. It's like. Actually, it was kind of
I totally agree with that. I think it's very different for men. It'd be like, oh, I just ghost this guy, you know, it's a very normal thing. But if someone leaves a date for a woman, it's like,
But like the comparison I give it to, obviously I know this is a different context. So you'll have meeting up from a dating app is different. But if prior to dating apps, like, and still to this day, men will approach women in person. And I mean, nobody, like, men shouldn't feel entitled to, because we approach you, that we deserve a date with you. But like, women typically are not particularly polite when men approach them in person, especially if it's, alcohol's involved, they're at a bar, nightclub, whatever. But if guys were to complain like, oh, she rejected me instantly, because if a guy steps to you and you're not physically attracted to him, you don't give him a chance. And so it's just interesting how, like, here's this woman, hey, there could be some component of, hey, maybe it would have been tactful for him to finish out the entire date. But I mean, this is the story of any man who's ever approached a woman in person and she wasn't physically attracted to him. She didn't give him a chance. And so I think women reserve the right at any time, if they're not comfortable or they don't want to be on a date with a guy. Maybe the polite thing to do would be to finish out the date, but they're certainly within their right to end it. And likewise, I think men, if for whatever reason, for any justification, they can end the date too.